Thanks, Jeff. I was really proud of our guys this week with really the focus and the energy to run through a 5-game week that way. And I think the big key to us is we're playing very good defense. And I think that the defense does so much now. It allows us to pitch counts down. Pitchers are going deeper into games. This weekend, I think all 3 starters went 7 innings. All got very deep in the game, under 100 pitches. I think a lot of that is the double plays that are being turned, not having errors to where now you throws 15 to 16 more pitches to get out of an inning. I think we did a lot of that early in the season, and I think now with the defense shoring itself up, that's the one thing that's helped us with pitchers now more confident to get the ball on the ground. And then it takes the pressure off hitters because we're not trying to always come back after giving up a big 3-run inning. So again, now we've got to press on. That's in the past. None of that's going to help us this week. We're off today. Tomorrow we'll travel to Nichols. Always a tough place to play. So we'll have to play good to be able to win there. But we are playing good, so that's a good thing for us. And then from there we'll come back here with UNO. And then Thursday we'll grab a plane and head out of here to App State. For a 3-game series at App State. So another busy week for us, but I like our focus. I like where the veterans are at right now and what they're doing with our team for down the stretch. They've made a commitment to be good in the second half, and so far they've been very good. Now what we've got to do is just try to continue that into tomorrow and into this weekend. So look forward for questions you might have.
These 5-game weeks, once you kind of get a couple of them under your belt, does it almost become part of the routine and it's not even the drag of playing so many games?
No, I think so. I think it's a good routine, and I think it's good for us to be able to throw our bullpen, be able to throw some people, and continue to play. We thought as a coaching staff when we got together at the beginning of the year that it would take us, the first half, or that we could play ourselves into a good team. But we needed to play because the experience we needed, you can only get so much of that in fall practice and in fall inter squads. You really got to get into real games to get real experience with a lot of these pitchers. So I think that's what's helped us. So, we don't mind it. To me, it gives us a chance to continue to play and continue to do the things that we need to do to keep getting better.
What is the pitching plan for these 2?
We don't know yet. We always meet late on Mondays. Monday's always our day off. So we'll get together as coaches and try to see what we're going to do. Last week I liked what we did, so we'll relook at that going into this week. And I like throwing the bullpen on Tuesday to keep them sharp for the weekend. So we'll talk about it as coaches and see where we're at. We got Carter that needs to come back out, so he'll get a start probably. So we'll visit as coaches and make that determination probably later tonight.
Any idea how far off Midmore is?
No. He's throwing a flat ground. He's gotten up to a flat ground. He's got to go from a flat ground to a bullpen, and then from a bullpen to live hitters, and then into a game. So he's past stage 1 of the flat ground, but we haven't got him up onto the mound yet. He's getting closer, and Brian says he is healing up good, but again, that's a very tough area. So he'll be with us at App State, but he will not be ready this weekend for sure.
Seems like you have 8 spots in the lineup really figured out. It's like the whole season's just been trying to figure out who that third outfielder is.
Yes.
Is that something where you have to have it figured out by the time the postseason arrives, or is that something where you just play the hot hand?
Well, I think we play the hot hand. That position could be 3 people for right now. I think it's a situation that if we can just get some productivity from it in the sense of defense, and then from defense into the offense, just making sure that hopefully that position is not non-productive, where we get somebody in there that's got cut down strikeouts, be able to hit and run, be able to bunt, be able to just be productive and be able to turn that lineup back over. 9-hole is so important because, the more you turn a lineup over, we teach this to our pitchers all the time. The reason you want to cut down the 9-hole hitter is that, when you end the game, the 4-hole hitter, the 3-hole hitter could be on the on-deck circle. But boy, the more you let the 9-hole turn over that lineup, the more you're going to face 3 and 4. And so the big thing we'd like to do is just, we'll use a couple people if we have to. We've been doing that. And the big thing we're trying to look for out of that spot is cut the strikeouts down, be able to have a bat that the coaches can use offensively in the sense of trusting in the hit and run, sacking and pushing and dragging, just trying to be a productive guy. And I think we can get that before it's over.
What has Kyle's bat, especially at that spot in the lineup, done for the rest of your lineup, just having that solidified right there?
Well, it not only helps us, but it gets a real left-handed bat into the lineup. A guy that's got some power, a guy that can run a little bit, so you get an athletic guy up towards the top of the lineup. But the big thing it does is it was part of the equation that we had for us to be successful this year. The returning players had to play big. I mean, we knew we lost over 500 innings on the mound. We knew we were going to be so inexperienced on the mound that I thought we had to do two things. One, we had to play good defense and get the freshmen off the field. We could get them off the field. We didn't do that early. We couldn't get the guy we wanted at second base onto the field. We finally got him on the field. You look, BT's errors have gone down. Everybody's errors have gone down since one guy has gotten on the field. And I think that's the big thing that's really, really helped us up to this point. Freshmen are being able to get a ground ball double play and get off the field now. We could have done that early in the year. I think we're 5 or 6 games better just defensively, not even offensively. We've been good offensively. But Clem is twofold. He gives you an athletic guy at the top of the lineup, but he's one of the people that had to play big for us to try to be very good at what we're doing, because he's one of the backup players last year that's out there that needs to play big, and he's playing big. So we can't be more pleased with Kyle, and that's parts of the equation that we needed at the beginning of the year. We're getting it now from him. The other part of the equation was defensively, which now we're getting. So I think those things are what's attributing to us being better. And then the freshman pitchers are more experienced now. Wyatt was in the bases loaded the other day. I don't know if he gets out of that at UTSA in February. But now he's learning, because he's been in it so much now. They're learning now how to get out of traffic and how to manage games better. And that takes a while to learn. We're so fortunate that those guys are managing games as good as they're managing them right now.
BT's got something like 1 error in his last 30 games, something like that.
That's my point. I remember one year we were kicking the ball all over the place, and I remember us discussing as coaches, and we took Justin off the bench. He was a pitcher at first baseman for us, and we got the first baseman off the field to try to put a catcher there. But he was blocking balls, more or less, instead of fielding balls. He was going back to what he used to be, was a catcher. And all those guys were scared to throw the ball across the diamond. And if you look back when we put in a defensive first baseman, everything calmed down. Our errors went down. We got better. It's very important. I think BT last year, looking to the left, looking to the right, he was so calm because he had Leonard, who had a heck of a year. He had Jace that was rock solid. So he was rock solid. And so this year we start out, and I think he got spooked a little bit because he's got more territory to cover and everything else. And then it's all it takes is one guy in the infield. One shaky guy can lead to another shaky guy. But you have one arrogant fielder, that arrogance can lead to the other guy too. And we knew that if we could just get Trosclair into the infield, because he plays the game with arrogance, that we thought everything would calm down, and it has. We just couldn't get him in there until midway because of that labrum injury.
That
You mentioned.
related to that, is it just the comp? I mean, Blake's making a lot of. They're not easy plays he's making. So is it? Can you really relate that to the confidence of having the guy like?
Well, you can trust the guy on the left and the right of you that they've got some territory that they're going to cover. It allows you to relax as an infielder. Now you can cover extra territory on your own instead of having to do it. There's a big difference between having to cover all that territory and now not having to cover it. And now that's when you start to see big plays being made, is when you're a lot more relaxed. And that's why all of his errors have gone down. Trosclair coming into the lineup, he trusts him, and we've calmed down the infield, so he's going to get better in that also.
How much does it help the progress that Greg Davis has made as a defensive first baseman?
Well, good, because, you know, we knew offensively he was more of an offensive guy playing first base, you know, and the better he gets, you know, the better it's going to help us. Again, it's just like the year we threw Judd in at first base. When more arrogant people get in the infield, it makes everybody else better infielders. You'll just see that. And you get one or two guys in an infield kicking balls, throwing the ball scared, fielding scared, that also spreads too. And that's kind of what we've gotten rid of, because the last double play at the end of the game was not an easy double play on Sunday, but we made it look easy. You look at the Texas A&M game at LSU, they get to come back as the pitchers, got a chance to turn double play, get off the field. A lot of pressure, chicken wings to the outfield, and LSU was on the win. Defense is so important, man, and having just little things get taken care of. And BT makes everything, all those plays look so easy. A lot of what he's doing is not easy, but he just makes it look easy. And he's a guy that, boy, as a coach and a coaching staff and pitchers, you really appreciate. And you start to throw the ball down more. You start to try to sink the ball down more, because you know you got good infielders. Pitchers are creatures of habit. You get a lot of errors all over the place. They start getting the ball up and trying to strike people out, and trying to get the ball up into the air to try to have somebody make a play instead on the ground. When they know they got a rock solid defense behind them, you'll start to see more ground balls. You'll start to see them attack the strike zone more. And I think that's what it's done all last weekend for us, is all three pitchers were able to go out and really attack the strike zone, because nobody's in fear that there's going to be a ball kicked or anything.
When you put together these multi-game win streaks, compared to last season when it was just happening so often, how are the feelings different with this team when you do that?
Well, that's, you know, the big thing you strive for in this game is winning is just a byproduct of competing. Last year's team, they competed so hard, there was a lot of byproduct of winning. We never go coach winning. We never get the guys together and try to put together a winning streak. The one thing we try to strive for every day is to make sure that we can pitch, have the pitcher give us a chance to win. That's the first place we start. The second place we start is to play defense behind that pitcher. And then from there, we want to take the pressure off our hitters. Hitters fail 70% of the time. You cannot go out there as a pitching staff and get behind in games and kick the ball around and turn to your hitters and go, hey man, we need 10 tonight, you know, and then tomorrow night we need 10 more. You can't do that to your hitters. And so that's the order we try to go out there and do it in. If you track this 6-game winning streak, we've done a lot of that. And that's what leads to winning. It's a byproduct of winning. If we go to Nichols and we don't pitch, we don't play defense, we don't get timely hitting, guess what? More than likely could lose. So those are the three things we focus on the most. And because baseball is an imperfect game, I mean, you can't go out and play it perfect. You have to just minimize the mistakes you make in a 9-inning game. And so what we've been able to do for 6 nights in a row is minimize. And so that's going to help you win. How long we can do that, I don't know. We want to try to do it every night. But the one good thing our veterans have done is they've really done a good job of the focus. When we got together and really looked at the second half, the pertinent talk about where we are, win stands for what's important now, and those guys are focusing really hard on what's important now. And that's what leads to winning. How long we can carry this, who knows? That's the key to this, is being able to carry it no matter whether you get 2 rain outs, sit in a hotel, travel to Nichols, play a team that's got a bad record. I mean, you still got to focus on the 3 things: this pitching, defense, and then timely hitting. And that's what last year's team did such a good job of, every night out. You know, we pitched, we played defense. And then when you had the firepower you have last year, guess what you can do? You can have some hiccups along the way. Pitchers can have bad innings. You can kick a few balls. This team, we don't have as much firepower, so it's forced us to really focus in on pitching and defense. And if you look at us in the league, we're at the top of the league in hitting, 1 and 2 with South Al. We're at the top of the league in pitching, 1 and 2 with South Al. And where we've climbed the most, we've climbed out of the cellar. We were like in 9th place in fielding. We moved up to 6. And that's the critical category right there. We got the other 2 pretty good. Now what we've got to do is we've got to keep climbing that category. And I'm telling you, that's what's been the difference maker for us through this stretch. Is we get a few backup players from last year playing big, which is what we said at the beginning of the year we needed, and then we're playing good defense, something we didn't do in the early first half of the season.
Tony, talking about focus, Cajun fans, I know your players, already looking forward to a couple of weeks from now, the South Alabama showdown. But you got a dangerous team in App State you're getting ready to play. App State. What do you tell your team?
Well, we tell them not to say what you just said. To worry about South Alabama. So that's the furthest from our mind is South Alabama. We got Nichols. It's a tough place to play. We got to worry about them. Then we got to worry about a UNO who beat us last year. We were a good team last year. And so we got to take care of that. We got a long trip to App State. And then we still got finals the next week to deal with, and then we deal with South Al. So the one thing we want to do is make that weekend relevant, and the way to do that is to stay in this week and make sure we focus on what we have in front of us so that that weekend becomes relevant. And that's what we're going to try to do, is really focus hard and go game by game, do everything we got to do to win at Nichols, then come back and do everything we got to do, win against UNO, and then board a plane, get down to App State. We played well on the road this year, which is what I like. Our team has swung the bat well on the road. We're physical on the road too, so that's been very good. So the road, you know, there's some teams hate to head back out on the road. One good thing is we've been a good road team, and I think that's going to come back to help us. And then we got to deal with finals, and then of course South Al. So the big thing we want to do is make that weekend relevant. There's only one way to make that weekend relevant, is not look towards it. It's to make sure that you take care of what's in front of it.
Coach,
Yep.
Didier Field normally plays pretty big in Thibodeau. Is that one of the challenges of going to that place? Does it kind of force you to play ABC baseball? Is that kind of a good challenge?
I agree with you. You know, it holds the scoring down a lot of the times, so it puts more onus on your pitching and your defense. It puts more onus on your timely hitting. And it puts more onus on your concentration as hitters, because if you go in there with lack of focus, you can end up being in the 7th inning and having, 10 fly ball, 11 fly ball outs already, and you're deep into the game. So you really got to concentrate on staying on top of the baseball over there. They play in that every day, so they're not really spooked by it. But the one good thing is our ballpark. You look at some of the balls Greg Davis hit this weekend. I mean, on the road, that's all home runs. I think Greg Davis has 2 or 3 home runs. I think we got almost 5 more home runs this weekend, if not 6, maybe even 7. Our ballpark can suck a ball up quick, and that's why I think we've been good on the road, and our power numbers have been a little bit better on the road, because the parks we have been in, the wind was blowing out, ball carried better, like at Texas State. That's why I'm okay with going on the road. I think our hitters like hitting. Our ballpark can really play big sometimes. So we were able to win 3 games this weekend in a similar park, in my opinion, mainly because we pitched and played defense. So again, that's what we've got to go do on Tuesday, is pitch and play defense, and try not to have 100 fly ball outs, because that ballpark does play big.
Tony, conversely, you're going to go to a ballpark this weekend that doesn't play big, and you've got a You know, New Mexico State's not in the league, that's the good news.
Sure.
But you're talking about a place that the elevation is about the same. Wind may not be as much of a factor, but the ball's going to carry there. You got 3 freshman pitchers that you're going to put out there, and what do you say to them to make sure that when they get out there, they don't get their feelings hurt if Appalachian State scores some runs?
Well, the big thing I think you have to do in a situation like that, it's kind of like at Texas State. We told them before they pitch that you're just going to have tough skin. Don't get spooked by it. Don't be afraid to be aggressive just because of the fence. But the big thing you got to do in situations like that is you got to eliminate walks, and the defense has to get rid of errors. That's it. And then you give them a solo home run if they get one up and get it out. But you got to watch out in ballparks like that. Walk, error, now 1 home run. That's a big difference between a solo home run and a walk in there and a home run. That's a 3-run jack. So that's what you got to try to do. We did a great job at Texas State. Again, Marks came out and pitched on the worst day and pitched exceptionally well. So I don't think it'll spook us. The hitters are going to love it probably, which is okay. And sometimes you can pitch against it. You know, a lot of teams will try to lift the ball on you. You look at Wyatt. You know, he's got 11, 12 punch outs on Sunday with the wind blowing out. So that's kind of how you try to do it. You try to tell them to have thick skin and don't run from the strike zone because of the fence, and get rid of walks and get rid of errors and just work from there. So, but I'd rather have our hitters feel good about hitting because the percentage goes up. They're the ones who fail 70% of the time. We really get to go in as pitchers with a 70% success rate. So I'd much rather, instead of having a howling wind blowing in, and now our hitters' success rate goes even down from the 30, I'd rather flip it. I'd rather go into that situation, take my chances with the hitters, with the wind blowing out, and trying to pitch in it.
Any more questions? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.